Zale, Cummings, Bentley. We are ready to get a rematch of the Spring Split Finals right here between 100 Thieves and Team Liquid.
And already we can see they agree with the guys on desk controlling that Rise first ban on the red side.
Yeah, and I love this because Team Liquid, they had choice of side selection. They went for red side. Even though 100 Thieves, they actually have a very good blue side win rate. They are 13-3 this entire split on blue side. And on red, they're 3-8. So a much higher win rate when they can control Braum or Afromu getting a Recon.
Things really have been changing around, though. The fact that, you know, in 8-16, there's not as many must bans on the red side really made a big difference. People are kind of starting to prioritize that red side and the counter picks a lot more, and they still have flexibility.
Yeah, there's only a few things that people consider almost mandatory bans, and it's things like the Akali and the Kindred, but we saw versus FlyQuest, 100 Thieves didn't want to pick Akali. I believe it went unpicked or banned in a few of their games, and that's them banning it because they aren't even going to first pick it here.
Final ban now for Team Liquid. Let's see what will hurt 100 Thieves the most here in phase 1 of picks, and what is their priority now someday with the first lock-in and 27 seconds to figure this one out. It looks like it'll be the support pick. Kindred is left up. Kindred is locked in.
Yeah, that's what we were kind of saying is being able to control the Kindred and then the Rakan and Braum are things that, you know, Afromu really wants to have. And I like this from TL because they said you either pick the Braum and give us Kindred for Smithy, who's a very famous Kindred player, or you take the Kindred yourself and then you give Olay somebody who can help protect double lift, but also there's some aggressive lanes you can pair alongside this Braum.
And this does make a lot of sense, but one of the things I'm really just going to be interested about is seeing what is the plan with Rikara? Because a lot of people have been talking about the fact that if both these teams play standard, TL just kind of does that better, and that is why most people are predicting that TL is going to win. Doublelift has had the edge over Cody-Sun traditionally, and when you both play through that bottom lane, that's going to mean a lot of victories for TL. Is Rikar going to bring out a really aggressive pick? Is he going to bring out a mage in the bottom lane? What is the difference that they're trying to look for?
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to pick the mage, or it's a champion select swap up where someday will be who they play to now, and that they feel that Rikara is a better Ezreal or Sivir, kind of a safer player in terms of the, how he's going to contribute to a team instead of needing resources funneled into him. That's kind of the other thing besides mages that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, blind pick on the GP there, that's something that so many teams love to do against TL. Impact defaults to tanks in vast majority of the time. He has not had as many strong carry performances. So you can do things like this. You can say, all right, well, you're not going to play Camille or some sort of counter pick into me, so you're going to pick a tank anyway. I'll just blind pick GP.
Yeah, and I like this because this means what I said may not be true, where they're actually going to focus. They're going to focus the bottom lane now. When you pick GP, you're not usually going to that lane. You're going to the bottom lane because he has TP, he has ultimate, he can exert pressure on the opposite side of the map, and he's also physical damage, and they have a physical damage jungler. You might be right, Azale. It might be a mage coming out here, a Swain Vladimir, potentially for Rikara.
Yeah, I think with all the physical damage coming out there is certainly a higher possibility of that. I also like the fact that you see Kai'Sa being taken away when there's also double physical DPS here, so that's kind of limiting some of the options. Varus is off the table, Kai'Sa is gone. Those are kind of your AP marksmen that you can build that way. So it almost does really push you into either a super high DPS mage in the mid lane like Cassio or something along those lines who's going to be able to force you to build MR, or you have to play a mage bot.
And with the second phase of bans from TL, they hit Rikara a bit. That Kai'Sa is one of Rikara's most played, so they filter into already hitting the guy that 100 Thieves has just put in.
Yeah, but Rikara has played a whole bunch of champions. He's played the Ezreal, he's played the Kalista, the Sivir.
There's the Xayah.
Can still play things like utility, but the Swain is the one that I'm looking at here, taking the Trist away and making sure that maybe they have something else. There's the Swain takeaway. Swain plus Alistar would be very brutal to play against. So TL, they're pretty keen to what you would want to do as 100 Thieves with Rikara.
And I think that's a smart ban. Swain certainly is the premier bot lane mage these days, unless you really are proficient on Heimerdinger, which is something that less players are comfortable doing.
But there are some crazy things too, right? We've seen Ahri, we've seen Orianna, we've seen a Cassio bottom lane. There's a lot of different champions that just come out.
And I mean, you can do something like Draven into Kai'Sa is considered a very good matchup if you're willing to play an aggressive marksman and you're willing to play more for that lane. Alistar plus Draven certainly has the potential to go aggressively onto that Kai'Sa and try to put her behind early.
Taking out that game-changing Cho'Gath Chomp as well, so Impact will not be bringing that power into the top lane. Still 2 more picks for each team, and what can we find here for the priority? We saw a lot of good play out of Licorice on this Ornn, and we'll see what happens here for Impact.
Yeah, Ornn died down for a tiny bit, but he was always kind of right underneath the surface. And then when tanks like Cho'Gath came back, people said, all right, Ornn is just a tank that has really good long-range engage. And then Sion started popping up as well. We're kind of back to the top laners playing a lot of tanks, but also having the ability to engage fights and contribute.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's kind of, to me, the choice between Ornn and Sion and some of those different tanks becomes, you know, Ornn is much less of a focus on your lane. I think is a much weaker laner than Sion against the GP. That gives an easier time over for Someday in that 1v1. But you're trading that for having a much more guaranteed engage in the team fights, especially when you have the Braum. There's not going to be that Braum shield to block out your ultimate.
And what I love about Team Liquid's composition is they're drafting a ton of hard engage against 100 Thieves, who love to drag the game out. Being able to catch them and start fights means they don't get to delay.
It's also a tremendous amount of CC to apply Plasma for that Kai'Sa. You know, everyone right now can help apply those stuns, those knockups, all those extra hits, and the Jhin does come through, so it's a relatively standard composition here for 100 Thieves. The magic damage is going to be in the form of that Malzahar, which can threaten that front line and, you know, does command a little bit of respect there. Remains to be seen what Pobelter will bring out.
Yeah, the Jhin is interesting for Rikara because he's pretty much played no Jhin at all this split in Academy. When I look through it, he actually hasn't played a single game of it.
Not one.
It's just been those basic attackers and the mages.
This comp here for TL, we heard Doublelift talking about it. He wants the team to play around him. This is about as much as you can do that. You have 3 tanks, you have a zillion mid to speed you up, to res you, and you are playing a late game hyper-scaling marksman. Doublelift is going to have his chance to take over this game.
And this is Pobelter on his first Zillion game here of the split. TL and Cloud9 both got the first round buys. You can assume that they probably scrimmed each other a decent amount across the bracket because they wouldn't meet each other unless they were going to meet in the final.
I love these compositions so far. It's kind of like with the Jhin being picked up, it is welcome to the show. You're going to have Kindred ulti going down with a Gangplank ult on top of that, and the curtains being called behind for bullets to fly through.
Yeah, it's that old combination of GP ultimate into Jhin ultimate. You combine 2 kind of soft CCs to make a hard engage.
On the other side, TL as well has that bit of a save with Chrono Shift on to Zillion. We are about to get into game. It is going to be 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid. The matchups down the line, extremely big in each lane. In the jungle, the bot lane to be matched up. Will it find the pressure from the junglers in the early part of the game? Doublelift versus Aphromoo, the rematch of the spring finals. Coming through, can 100 Thieves run the heist on Team Liquid? We are on the Rift.
Had the rematch of the 2017 finals yesterday. Had a rematch of the spring 2018 finals today. We have had a treat of a weekend. I'm hoping for 5 games.
And this is going to be a hype as hell series because the winner goes to Worlds, right? They lock in immediately off of championship points. Nobody can match them. The only one that would be able to match them is the person in this game. Take them down, you're good to go.
It's really funny because as much as you want to beat the other team in this match, if you lose, you become their biggest fan because them winning the finals also will send you to Worlds.
Well, also, a lot of the times when people get beat by a team, they're like, I want you to win the next round because I lost to the best team. Yeah, it's like, I'm
I would have beat the other guys. I would have beat the other guys.
All right, let's write our intro to this very long best of 5 essay. Hopefully we go all 5 games. Ooh, hit.
Dova's going
more attacks. Rikara. Wow, down below 100 HP in the first fight, toe-to-toe, Doublelift and Rikara. Not pulling any punches.
And as much as that's kind of funny to see Doublelift asserting his dominance, he actually popped a potion.
Yeah.
So he actually does kind of fall down on that. You know, the null shield did get popped there for Rikara, so that's something that is on cooldown, but likely the being down a potion for Doublelift actually is going to hurt his lane more than that rune being on cooldown.
I'm actually surprised that Rikara has that rune, because Celerity's really good on Jhin with Hail of Blades, and then also Gathering Storm is quite good on him too, especially if you think you're going to go later with 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons for that, and one of the arguments you can make, is there's so much damage on this team that, you know, as long as you're not getting burst down, it's more, with this composition for Under Thieves, about kiting out in the fights and focusing down the front line. If you can survive, that's going to be a big deal, because look at all the damage across the board, right? There's 4 heavy damage dealers.
We'll see now in the mid lane. Just a quick back and forth to start things off from Ryu and Pobelter, who got a few bombs on. Doesn't seem like they'll really be worth for the wearer to start that off. But Onda and Smithy about to cross paths. He has the vision on that ward, so he's privy to the knowledge firsthand. And he'll hop in. Avali, with a sideline report, will hop to her to see how 100 Thieves felt coming into this match.
Thanks, guys. Probably said that they put in Rikara because he has a pretty difficult to guess champion pool. And, you know, he doesn't want Team Liquid to get too comfortable. He said that this is the easiest way to pull off a surprise and potentially pull off a win. Back to you.
I think that makes a lot of sense, because they had to mix up something. They're 1-6 against TL. They got 3-0'd in the finals last time. You need to be able to have that flexibility to show them a different look, even if it's just for the first game.
Yeah, and that's 1-6, but the only time that they ever beat them was their very first encounter against each other back in January. It's been 6 straight losses. And hold on, Anda actually is going to find Smithy here. It's level 3 to level 2, and he's got the track on him from behind.
Sees him quick, so he gets the first attack, flashes down, so now the chase can be on. Rio's going to get a tag of Malefic Visions on. Someday gets a piece of this one as well. A tip for Tatch and a touch for everybody.
And
Someday comes up with first blood.
And the first blood goes to the gangplank up top. He uses his flash for it, but still, being able to start getting him rolling is huge. Getting that Sheen faster means a lot.
Yeah, that first blood's so big. Getting the mark as well there for it. And really good start for him. And it's going to be tough for Smithy.
Again.
I know he doesn't have the blast gun. I think that was so smart from Anda to actually clear out the blast gun first. And then the Q's on cooldown, so Smithy can just flash out. But with the collapse coming in from both sides, there's no way to get out.
Yeah, and that's going to be, like you said, a stack for Anda. He's at 2 already. It's only 3 minutes, 4 minutes into the game. And that gives you a better chance of contesting the next one, too, if it's on that scuttle.
And as one of these top laners, you know, for Impact, you're already in a rough matchup. You know you're going to get outscaled. Now he comes back to lane, not only with first blood, but the red buff, which means you don't even have any chance of bullying him in those early minutes, and that kind of closes your only chance of really pushing him around.
And something that Gangplanks have actually been doing recently is it's almost been like no more Klepto. Everybody's on that grass train. It used to be you pick the Kleptomancy into tanks because it's a free lane, but now everybody's just going grass because they feel like the HP value that you get kind of adds up and would equate the gold that you would have as Klepto, and it allows you to trade and kind of win lanes.
Yeah, I mean, Klepto to me has always been kind of this win more style of rune, but you don't really need to do that because the scaling is so incredible on GP anyway. If you can get to those later stages, you're going to be feeling good. With that early buy of the Sheen, Someday is going to be really, really comfortable.
Quick push in. Smithy did get a smite down, so he gets away with the majority of Raptors here, but the pressure from 100 Thieves is continuous. Over the wall goes Onda. Quick hits out of Pobelt, but no level 6 to get under that turret and the dive on Team Liquid. 100 Thieves backs off, but continue their aggression.
And I think Anda's just going to loop back around to the top side here. If he goes to the bottom jungle, I'd be surprised because the Scuttle Crab on the top side is coming up. So I think Ryu should fight for mid lane priority right now. He is a little bit low, but you do this camp, you start heading towards that Scuttle, and you just hope there's a mark on it because all the other camps are down. There it is. So yeah, you 100% want that. That'd be your 3rd mark at 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, and especially, if Ryu can get 6 and come over, that would be very big. But he is, out of mana right now, so we'll see if the solo laners are going to collapse. For now, though, it's looking like it's going to be Anda's, and such a strong start on this Kindred. As he said, 3 marks that early on. You're pretty much guaranteed to hit that 4th mark before team fights really start breaking out, and that's going to put you in an incredibly strong position.
Yeah, and people kind of forget about it, but it adds extra damage. It's not just the range. Every single one gives you extra attack speed on your Q, percent missing HP on your E. It's a lot of damage that can add up, and I believe it also gives you extra percent current HP on Wolf, which against high HP targets like Dragon and your buffs,
Horns and Wani,
just do it so quickly in terms of clearing your jungle, and it increases the speed at which you get levels.
Teleport coming in just below. I believe this is Impact from the top lane. No, it's Ole back in with Pobelter. Aframu slowed with the time warp, and they're going to have a lockdown on him. CC for days.
Where's GP?
And the only thing to beat CC is death. He's going to be live for now. Another TP coming in. Impact feels like he now needs to come in. It's a 4v2. Ryu and Onda somehow holding tall in the fight, but they're knocked down by the Ram as Impact calls it forward, and Anda's gonna have to tread backwards from the fight.
And Impact completed the TP. Someday canceled his, instead throws the Cannon Barrage out at a very late time, and all it gets is Pobelter's ult.
Yeah, that was a double TP play there from TL. Both solo laners coming down, really well done to be able to knock down those 2 kills. Someday, does drop the ult, as he said. He gets a little bit of free time, a little bit of a CS advantage, but again, this is just really nice from TL. Definitely not expecting this from 100 Thieves, at least not expecting 2 members to come through.
Yeah, and I'm wondering where's the ultimate from Gangplank to just slow them down and disengage this, and it is used, I would say, way too offensively here, where they wait for this opportunity where Anda is flashed after. Then there's the Zilean ultimate, which they aren't keeping track of right now. And that's kind of the big no-no there, is that they weren't actually paying attention to the fact that Zilean was there. Zilean has ultimate, and that guy was going down so slowly, too.
This is pretty interesting now. Doublelift actually TP'd top to defend the wave against Someday. So 100 Thieves, I think, kind of anticipated that they were just going to be laning back up there. They send their bot lane up to top, but Doublelift's actually heading down to bot now. So we have kind of swapped lanes. The bot lanes are not matching just yet, so we'll see if 100 Thieves with 3 members heading up to top can actually be the first to get the turret.
Big gold swing in that, with TL kind of feeling like they won the first fight. It doesn't look like they'll have the pressure unless Anda goes behind. He's going to take a little longer possibly than they wanted, and Xmithy is going to be here for the party as well. However, they see each other just on the right.
Yeah, but they also see Braum in the mid lane, meaning he's going to have to rotate. It's going to take Olay a long time to get there. If they focus
on
down,
the front side of the turret, Anda goes in. He's level 6 to throw on Lamb's Respite as Xmithy gets in with Glacial Prison. And nobody feels like they have to go for the full engage. The curtain is called. It looks like they closed the pamphlet early. Nobody's watching that show.
Still, nicely done. They get a little bit of damage down, and they are going to be able to push back in. If Impact has to go back to base, then they lose the turret. So they're trying to hold on. Someday is down on the bottom side and has easier access to wave clear as this GP.
Yeah, and his ultimate is not going to be up in time for this dive, but they're going to try for it. Again, Anda has that ultimate, like you said, and be an easy setup. Already have Ryu rotating too.
Rinse and repeat, but this one looks a little messy. Deadly Flourish does lock down Impact. Xmithy puts himself in front. The hit coming through on Pobelter as he cannot get himself to safety. Yes, he can. Harry will not take him down. The fight at the turret is still continuing. They get it, and Impact will not re-aggress onto the Forge God. They just call it out for a little bit of separation.
Yeah, but down in the bottom side, now there's 2 people on Someday. Someday just got his ultimate here. He could potentially clear the next wave with it and prevent the turret from going down.
He's looking for maybe a barrel chain over the side, but this is a really nice proactive play to see from 100 Thieves. Everyone talks about them as the most passive team, this late game team. Multiple attempted dives on the top side. They are able to kind of bully down that first turret, and 4 marks already here for Anda is a really good start for 100 Thieves. They're being proactive, and they're very clearly trying to change some things up and show a bit of a different style.
I would say this is the Kindred dream, but not even Kindreds have dreams like this. It's 4 stacks.
Be realistic.
Level 6? He almost has as many stacks as levels right now in the game, and that's absurd. He has that increased range. Now he has his full jungle item ready to go. This is a Kindred that can go look at that Cloud Drake now that you've swapped the lanes back and not worry about your bottom lane turret going down and start getting a lot for your team.
Yeah, I mean, with 100 Thieves now swapping right back down to bottom, TL don't feel that they can actually push the turret fast enough against Someday, so they're going to have to come back down and match. We'll see if 100 Thieves can make anything happen here on the bottom side and knock down a second turret. Would be a very big deal for them, but it's TL with multiple members down here on the bottom side.
Looks like they want to make something happen, produce a few results on that turret. We'll have to see how Anda and the team can stop this from happening. Also, with the marks on him, being a player coming into the middle of season 100 Thieves, is he someone that is ready to put a foot forward and start making moves with that kind of ability here in this game in the semifinals?
That's a really good point. A lot of people forget that Anda came in the halfway point in the split, and they 3-0'd FlyQuest in the quarterfinals, and he did a fantastic job in that set. But this is where you kind of look at that jungle and mid synergy with Ryu and Anda and saying, okay, is that something where now they start grouping up and having that pressure without having to have Ryze, without having to have a roamer for Ryu? Can Anda kind of free him up? And you see they keep playing to the sides. He was up top first. Now he's kind of going towards the bottom side of the map. focusing there.
And we know Anda really does have a high ceiling. We have seen him really dominate games against very good players. I think very heavily back to against Echo Fox, the Poppy into Dardox Lee Sin, completely dictating the pace of that game, completely taking over. And he's been put in a similar position here where he really can have a big impact on this game.
Yeah, first pick the Kindred for him, 4 stacks already. He's cycling his jungle just to kind of keep it up. And Team Liquid, even though they roamed Impact down, he's got to go catch that top wave at tier 2, and there's no pressure on that Drake because it's just been for the bottom side here. This may be a Rift Herald in the near future after they clear out vision in the top side.
Talked a little bit about impact with that Ornn pick. Not so much for the lane before the fights. That's when he came up with his first kill on the teleport down in CS in that lane, and that pressure now has led for 100 Thieves to Rift Herald.
They're Rift Heralding. TL might think this is where they go, but look at the bottom lane from 100 Thieves. Aframu is here. Rikara is almost there. If they contest this, it's a complete trap.
No forward wards here for Team Liquid. They don't know what's on the other side of that river, so they choose not to go in. 100 Thieves picks up Rift Herald, and now Anda can control the map even more.
At the same time, though, Doublelift grabs the bottom lane turret. Solo gold for him. They're going to get a dragon here, so this is not a bad trade at all there for TL. It's going to come down to how much can you get with that Rift Herald as 100 Thieves, because Anda needs to have a successful one, because you're trading potential gold for immediate gold.
Yeah, and trying to make sure that you can actually use that on the right objective, that mid lane turret. And I talked about it where having Rikara might mean you play to the top side. I didn't think it would happen because of the GP, but I think it's going to happen now because of the way the game is set up pressure-wise. That top turret is down. You use some days pressure to go towards mid and potentially lay down a Rift Herald to get that turret away from Pobelter.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn also really doesn't have great wave clear if you want to even try to attack. And just like he did when the bot lane went up there against Ornn, you can just walk up and start shooting the turret alongside the GP, drop your Rift Herald, and try to knock that down.
Yep, we have a 13-minute Triforce here for Someday.
Pretty quick.
He's going to be doing a good job farming, getting that extra gold. And he's on his way back to top lane, so yeah, no swap of the map or anything like that. The Drake is down, and there's no neutral objective to play for, so I think they'll play for placing the Rift Herald hero from 100 Thieves.
And this is something, Impact's doing that we've seen actually a lot recently, and we saw quite a bit from Licorice yesterday, is a rush towards CDR on the Ornn. Very likely going to be a Frozen Heart coming out with that Glacial Shroud plus another Cloth Armor. You can get that for 20%, grab a Kindle Gem right after, you're on 30, and then you complete an Abyssal, and you're at 40 for that Teamfight Ultimate, because that is what the character is about. And you really have to have it available for as many opportunities as possible.
He's against 3 physical damage dealers on this team. He doesn't want to build the Abyssal Mask first, but you typically want to have a Catalyst as your very first item is Ornn, because Ornn, he can buy items without backing. Catalyst just keeps you in lane, because you're just constantly spending mana, constantly getting HP back, and it's just a very good item for sustain and having that initial amount of HP that the armor can get behind.
Yeah, exactly. You need some health, especially when you're against a Malzahar. If you just build straight Frozen Heart, you are a very squishy boy, so I was going to be grabbing up that Catalyst, and we'll see how effective he's going to be in these teamfight engages, because in the isolated side lane 1v1, you expect Someday to be dictating the pace, having that pressure, and Anda to be kind of using that to be able to take some more counter.
Team Liquid knew that coming in as well. Xmithie hovered top for Impact when he was ganked by Anda. They're still able to get a few marks down on that lane, but Impact has been able to get a kill on the bot side of the map. And now top side, they look to make some results out of Someday, getting a little too aggressive. Oh, the board's got hits. Killer Instinct from Doublelift, and they're going to let that one go over to him. Kill secured by Team Liquid.
These TPs from TL have been so on point. And a beautiful ult there from Impact, predicting where Someday will go with the flash, applies the plasma, Doublelift flies in, easy kill for the marksman.
And thinking about 100 Thieves, they're a team that will win by 1-3-1ing you. And bringing teleport on Doublelift is actually so clever and incredibly smart for him to just be able to shut that down and be a factor on his team. Doublelift even said it where it's like everybody kind of has to play around him, right?
Yeah.
He wants to be a little bit like Uzi. This is a game where he's helping his team play around 100 Thieves, and he's contributing to shutting down the 1-3-1.
Very true. A quick flip of the script for him, but he's doing it perfectly fine as they need to move around the map. But really off the ball here as that was being put into the basket in the bot lane. 2 turrets for 100 Thieves as they use Rift Herald to go through bot and second tier turret. Almost going down, actually. Second tier did stay up as we see top lane gank one more time.
And this is just well set up. Impact waits long enough, only shows once the TP is nearly complete, and then simply has to apply the plasma, Doublelift can clean it up.
Yeah, Doublelift just uses the arc, gets right in there. That's the type of gank you're looking for. That flash, though, Little bit too predictive and got called out on it.
Downloaded.
Yep.
He knows what you're doing. A lot of pink boards in the inventory of 100 Thieves. We'll see if they feel like putting these in defense or far enough up to tell us that they're ready to protect them in the river a little bit farther onto Team Liquid's side. As they start clearing some out, 2 minutes onto the Cloud Drake and just 3 until we get Baron on the Rift.
And something you always have to track is, how Doublelift is doing in this game. Not only because TL in general plays through him, but almost all of their consistent DPS is Doublelift, right? And now we are 17 minutes into the game. He is more than 30 CS ahead. He got a kill, he got an assist, he has gotten solo gold on that bottom lane turret. And he's already 1,000 gold ahead of Ricard.
From the Frost, Glacial Prison stays in.
Yeah, and that's something you gotta watch out here. Sejuani usually makes people pick up Cleanse. Nothing on Rikara, nothing on Ryu. They may have to get a QSS in the future, but this is a Merc Treads game 100%. You already see it in the inventory of Anda, and Anda's actually pretty far ahead. We were talking about 1,000 gold up in that other matchup. He's 1,200 gold up himself. He actually got both of the last 2 buffs. He got the red buff and the blue buff from TL, and he's been controlling the jungle and playing off of when he kind of has a window to go in there and bully Smithy.
Cannon Barrage used from Someday on the top side. He is back on the map from his first death just a little bit ago as bot lane's pushed all the way up. Now Someday starts to rotate towards mid. 100 Thieves could have a quick pinch onto Team Liquid, but Ole and Xmithy get themselves safely back to the turret. Looks like a party here for 100 Thieves. They seem like they want mid pretty good.
Yeah, they definitely have pretty good wave clear here as well. So if they want to spread the map, you can do that. But for now, they push the side lanes, they draw TL to those side lanes, and then they try to shove up mid. And I think it's going to be back to that 1-3-1, as Irene was saying. It feels like you want to avoid the straight-up 5v5 against TL.
Yeah, TL has a lot of engage with Impact and Smithy. And then the Kai'Sa damage, basically she's a one-man army in a lot of fights. And if she can just pump damage into a frontliner, which 100 Thieves don't really have, it would kind of be Aphromoo and that's it. You do want to have your kind of damage dealers spread across the map, because if somebody dies, you have a lot of damage to deal to another turret.
Yeah, especially when you have the Zillion to kind of back you up. Like, you can actually dive deep past Aphromoo a lot of times there, having that Zillion ultimate.
And right here, someday, I think they're going to try to trade Cloud Drake for top lane tier 2 is the plan for 100 Thieves. I feel like they're just going to try to play for mid priority. That's it. And then potentially roam up to top if someday isn't able to get this by himself. But he has Trinity Force. I think he'll be able to get this. They're just going to try to cover for him.
The only one that can head up is Impact. Teleports are down for Probalter and Doublelift, so they got to stay close to the fight. Is on a little goose chase through the jungle. Top turret gets actually pretty damaged by Someday in that pressure, as 100 Thieves is slowly working TL around the map, but TL is still getting a few objectives of their own with those Drakes.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're going to be pretty happy, I think, about where they're sitting in the game. It's less important that everyone has a ton of gold, and more important that Doublelift is strong.
Over the wall, looking for a possible Glacial Prison to start it off, and they hit Rikara right in the kisser, taking him down as Pobelter secures the kill.
So beautifully done there, no hesitation. He just gets absolutely deleted. The all hits from Smithy, Doublelift to follow it up.
Yeah, and it's because they saw via Impact on the top side, see Anda and Someday taking that last mark. It's like, all right, they're on this top side of the map, and they don't have enough time to actually make it there if they were to walk. Granted, they were recalling, but that's exactly what you want to do with engagement windows, is figure out when the enemy has their defenses down.
You can also see how high level Doublelift is. He's as high as both the soul laners from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, not
right?
normal.
And having that Zillion to kind of boost up your experience a little bit can be very effective. And he is already now on 2 items at a ridiculously strong point for team fighting. And also with that Rage Blade, there's always the potential of looking towards a Baron and being able to kind of DPS that down.
Yeah, 50 CS up, doing a fantastic job against Ricard, who's making his debut here in playoffs, and just putting the pressure on him. And also that teleport allows him to be a little bit aggressive. And now that he has the 2-item spike, I believe this gets him, with the Zerker Squeeze, this gets him his E and now his Q. But hold on, suppressed.
Going down, Doublelift very low, misses the flash over the wall. Cannon Barrage might get this one, but he does get Chrono Shift. Eyes on Doublelift as he comes back up full HP, instantly back down on the ground. Doublelift now caught in the frying pan as 100 Thieves has the fight. They're gonna get orchestrated in their favor. It's just outside of the curtain call, and 100 Thieves can look at Baron.
Exactly, if you look at Baron, Smithy half HP. He doesn't have Warmogs or anything like that. He'd have to go for a steal. His smite isn't up just yet.
Should be up in time. Impact does
It's
have
still
the
a
ultimate.
50-50.
We'll see if they go.
Maybe a 55-45. Xmithy's on the other side, though. The smite is there. 13-11. Bigger smite coming out of Anda in this situation as well, so he has the advantage. Forge God is called. Impact doing everything he can inside the pit. The smite's to come down, but Lamb's Respite stops the kill. Who gets it? 1600 HP. They kill Smithy. Now it's all about the damage, and it is going to be Anda picking it up for 100 Thieves.
Incredibly done there from 100 Thieves. Both these junglers really reading into it. Neither one of them wasted their smite at the start. Smithy anticipated the Lamb's Respite to come down, but they still just focus him down. They kill him off. He has no chance to smite it. That was flawless from 100 Thieves.
I mean, it's a move Smithy's used himself on other players.
Can't Smithy, right? He's just going to hold it. He's like, I know what the Kindred's going to do, but they still focused all that damage into him afterwards. So this Sejuani basically has just a tiny bit of armor, and that's it.
And this is so well done here, lying in wait. He's on the pink ward. Doublelift doesn't see him, and they're not able to get over the wall. The failed flash there, so he doesn't have a lot of distance, even though he gets res back up. Look at Afro, ready, Q flash. There's no chance to react to that.
Yeah, even if he makes that flash off, I still feel like he's going to get the GP ultimate on top of him. He's going to get Po Belter's ultimate, and then there's nothing you really do from there, and that's why it's so important that that ward and that contest was set up there, and that was really well done there from Reed.
And this is perfect. So neither junglers use their smite, but the Kindred ultimate keeps the Baron high enough that Smithy can never burst it down unless you panic and smite first.
That
so
was
all
the
of
perfect
100
time.
Thieves stop DPS on Baron, focus him down, guaranteeing that they get it.
And this is game one in the playoffs in summer between 100 Thieves and TL. I want to take you back to spring finals. 100 Thieves versus TL. Game one, Team Liquid are behind, and they steal the Baron from Meteos. And that was huge in the series here. Anda, the new jungler for them, the only difference in the roster except for Rakara in this game.
In the setting today.
But that was huge that he's able to secure that and keep their mental strong.
And this is really kind of that double-edged sword of having everything on one carry, right? Doublelift is going to be ridiculously powerful in a team fight if he's able to stay free, if he's able to get that space. You see what it looks like if he goes down right at the start. Yes, they spent all their resources to kill him, but that's okay. You can do that, and if you're able to get him down, there's not much left for TL.
Yeah.
Quicksilver Sash picked up for Doublelift now. You think Ryu has flash up. That's an instant hit. Anda saves him with Lamb's Respite so they can keep Doublelift, but now they have to rethink the situation.
Yeah, but if you look at the gold difference here between the two AD carries, Doublelift is up 65 CS, but it's 1,200 gold. The cost of the QSS.
Look at the jungle gold.
I know, it's actually stupid. Like, I was looking at it, I was trying to see if Anda would hit level 13 before his solo laners. Someday literally hit it like 5 seconds before him. I haven't seen a professional jungle game in a long time where the jungler is ahead of his solo laners in experience. It almost never happens with the changed jungle.
I mean, Anda almost has as much gold as Doublelift, who is getting all the gold as the opposing marksman. That is really insane. He's almost 3,000 ahead of Smithy as well. This guy is really, really strong, and TL are going to kind of have to go onto the defensive now. They're very far behind. They can't afford to have their base be getting cracked and falling this far behind.
Going to be second tier turret in mid now. 100 Thieves starting to damage it as Impact calls forth the Forge God. 3 members of 100 Thieves knocked up. Ryu and Someday on the outside ready to pincer in, and they get it suppressed onto Impact so he cannot create more crowd control. The curtain is called and turns TL to their base. Resurrecting from Chrono Shift is Impact as he was the focus as the meat shield on the front line, and now TL right back at it. Rinse and repeat is the batting orders, right back to the plate.
Yeah, it buys them some time. The double bomb will clear out the minions very quickly. Even if they're buried up, it does a lot of damage. And off on the side, I think there's a flank coming through from somebody on the left. No, it's Smithy just clearing out. But that's the thing is you go, oh, he's on the left side. You don't know exactly what he's going to do.
Right? We see kind of what 100 Thieves had to envision there, and did not look safe without top side wards. Anda heads down, grabs himself a little bit more damage for the team with Infernal Drake 25.5 minutes into the game.
And that's so much more important than it is normally because you have 4 pure damage characters. There's no tank in the top lane, no tank in the jungle. All of these guys are getting that huge benefit from it, and another mark going his way. He's just ridiculously fed. And he has 7 marks, he's level 15. It's absurd.
Yeah, it was funny. I looked at it just a second ago. He was at 5. He like picked up 2 marks very quickly there. And I was like, wow, okay, almost having that extra range increase again.
He already does.
25
It's
more.
3 after
it's 3,
the
that's
first
right.
4, so he's already at an additional 25 on top. He's 100 range over that, sitting at 600 now, so pretty absurd.
Now, that's honestly crazy. Like now he's basically got that same attack range as Ashe. All that extra damage and attack speed will come through. And since he has more of an on-hit type build, it means a lot to have that extra attack speed from your Q to get more of those attacks off, stack up the Black Cleaver, survive as well. Because you get more off, you get more HP back from your lifesteal. It's this kind of cycle where being offensive really helps him out having the stacks.
For TL, though, it's about kind of stabilizing here. It's about slowing down the game. They still have an incredibly strong team fight. They still have Doublelift at a very high amount of farm. I mean, he's 70 plus CS, almost 80 CS ahead of his opponent.
These intense moments are when he performs, too.
Yeah, but he still has to find something here that, because if you look at his inventory, some days still just rocking way more in terms of just hefty items, the Trinity Force plus the Stairs, and now the Storm Razor. He's basically not looking for, hey, I'm going to shred these tanks. Like, I'm going for the squishies. He's going for the barrel chains. He's trying to blow up people like Doublelift, like Pobelter, and reach them with those, you know, those barrels that people usually wouldn't consider GP a long-range character.
I'd like to see that first parlay on Doublelift right now with a Storm Razor shot.
Doublelift would not like to see that.
Like, he just did 320 damage to Xmithy with that crit. Xmithy had passive on.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about GP. You know, when you are this far ahead, even just dropping an ultimate on a one-carry team, you drop it right on the marksman. The marksman essentially has to run straight out of that. Yeah. You just take so much arbitrary damage. The Jhin is firing shots at you. While that is all happening, the Malzahar and the Kindred are killing your front line. And if you are not actively firing, actively doing damage while your front line is being hit, you will start to get shredded.
Yeah, and I love that Ryu has gone for the Rylai's Crystal Scepter here. We've seen kind of a lot of penetration builds come out, some of the Leandries, but going for the Rylai's for utility for his team second and just helping him out in the team fights, I think is exactly what they need here, because these fights are very rough for 100 Thieves, because TL, they have a better team fighting composition, and so adding as much utility as possible without having to kind of default to only 1-3-1-ing, I think is good for 100 Thieves. If they can actually take fights, then that's a good sign.
It's always cool to see Zilean passive, but then having TL use it on Xmithy right now is actually like, hey, we need to catch up with this passive, get even. Still 15 to 14 there. So it could be a level 3 ultimate Frostbite, not that's damage from Onda, before Xmithy hits that level 3 Glacial Prison. Just the clip of the game 100 Thieves has right now, so much quicker as they almost catch impact on the front line once again.
And so we have to kind of take stock of what that Baron got. 100 Thieves, the bottom tier 2. It didn't get them to crack that tier 2 in mid. They haven't broken any inhibitor lines. The game is still very much so undecided despite this gold lead and that Infernal Drake for 100 Thieves. Now they're going to use the pressure. They're going to push up here. Olay's going to block a little bit.
Eyes on the Afro move here to go on the back line. Impact actually throwing out the Forge God. Silence can't knock it back. Beautifully done by Ryu.
Yeah,
and it looks like 100 Thieves can stand tall in mid still.
Really well timed there by Ryu. Interrupting the activation of the ultimate to actually knock that Ram back into the team. And you can see TL's strategy is just all eggs in Doublelift basket. They're, as a 4-man squad, trying to hold, while Doublelift is still sitting in side lanes. He's still trying to maximize farm. He knows he has to be the guy. Yeah. He has to be the guy to take over this game, and he needs the items to be able to do it.
Yeah, and the QSS kind of taking up some slots in his inventory. See if he actually goes for back, but no, he's actually going to contest right now.
Yeah, talking about that, Smite steals Irene. The 50-50 could be up for grabs. A double pulverize coming in as Pobelter has to distance himself. Again, you have impact on the front line, now down to about 5% of that HP, but he will live. That did not look safe for Team Liquid, and now 100 Thieves can go right back as they're winning the small skirmishes.
It's the vision, though. And there's the W from Doublelift just to check it. They don't have vision control of this area. They don't know what 100 Thieves are doing, and it just looks like 100 Thieves are backing, and they're going to kind of figure that out here, slowly but surely. Ole's going to face check Havoc Xmithy behind him. This is that get the vision with a buddy system, and they'll kill these control wards. So you have to buy more control wards as 100 Thieves when you reset here.
Yeah, they are going to be able to at least get some of that vision back, and the process kind of restarts now for 100 Thieves. They are 7,000 gold ahead, and you can see that coming through in the items. And with the IE completion, that's so big there for Rikara, and Ryu on 3 items here as well. So they're at one of their strongest points relative to their opponents.
Just little hits back and forth, trying to force out flashes, see if you can get an ultimate in defense out of one of these players. Chrono Shift is up for Pobelter, so there could be a bit of an engage here if Xmithy feels like the team can go forward. Right now, it's waiting to see if 100 Thieves will tempt the next Baron. They feel like they're getting a small foot in the door on those engages from the side of TL.
Xmithie's the insurance sitting around the Baron, allowing his team to back and recall. Double lift, Runan's Hurricane now completed on him, going for a build that is a lot about stacking up Plasma on multiple people and trying to just be the sole carry of the team, because like you said, Azale, he has been.
It is very interesting, though, because normally you see that against multiple melee teams on people who are going to naturally stack up, and 100 Thieves looking for an engaged. Impact is actually on the side, though, here. It could be TL that want to try to start this off.
Glacial Prison is up. Everything is up around the map in the terms of ultimates. And just a flash down here on the side of Pobelter. Mid lane is the name of the game for now, and they have all the vision of 100 Thieves with that mid ward.
Down to that vision, it's down to that control.
It is. It's just jockeying for position. The fight that, after all of this is probably going to come down to clearing a ward, back and forth, one little misstep.
Yeah, and you got to be very conscious as 100 Thieves whenever this situation has arisen, where you can't see what TL's doing, and double lift on the Kai'Sa is in fog of war with the Baron, because Kai'Sa is one of the best Baron champions in the entire game because of the plasma percent HP damage, no cooldown on it. The only thing that matters is how much you can cycle your attacks with Rage Blade, and that E giving you that extra attack speed just means that you can kill it in about 8 seconds with just one other person.
And Doublelift now level 16 himself. He's almost 100 CS up.
Like, away.
Really, really maximizing farm here. TL have done a good job buying him so much time, and
let's count.
They're just going to start this up.
Started at 54 seconds, and they're actually backing off of it. They got down to almost 75%.
And in a way, it's got to feel good for Team Liquid to say, we can now start to pull you around the map to 100 Thieves. They had a bit of position there, and 100 Thieves is forced to clear these wards and not do something they wanted to right away. Or maybe they're just going to force it, calling Team Liquid's bluff.
Well, Xmithie backed. Don't know if they saw that, but that's what matters, is he's not around to smite it. They get it down to half. They're just toying with. Remember, 100 Thieves, this is what they did against FlyQuest in the quarterfinals, is start Baron, bait Baron, toy with the idea of doing it. It's like 100 Thieves, they kind of make you think, are they going to commit to it? Are they going to turn? They don't have that hard engage that they used to, but they do have Someday level 18 on this GP with the ultimate, and then they also have Rikara following.
Yeah, and you still do have Aphromo to pull that trigger, and you can go in pretty hard if they want to do it on that Alistar. And
no check here.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on just yet. I mean, no vision
in
on
mid
it.
lane.
Xmithie's moving over.
It's going to be a little too late, maybe down to 5,000 HP. There it is, right at 5. And it looks like they're going to have to step off for the fight. Too much of a 50-50, knowing that was Xmithie's ward over the side. Doublelift has entered the 5v5 jockey around Baron as both teams stare each other in the eyes. Impact, choke point. Got two members. Ryu flashes out so he can get a silence onto somebody. Pobelter's on the side, but watching Doublelift on the bottom as Impact takes the front and brunt of damage. Can they return it? He doesn't go down. Chrono Shift is there, and he wants to go down. You're right, Cyrene. They keep him up, and he may go down to the AoE, but he lives. Team Liquid stays alive, but 100 Thieves is in a much better position.
He has the Warmogs to heal up, but they're going to go right onto the Baron here.
Will they?
It's not.
What a dance.
Time to control the vision for 100 Thieves. Toy with the idea again. Oh, somebody's recall gets interrupted there. And they're
my word.
They're all resetting again. This is just a back and forth. I don't think that bottom wave has been like taken care of in a long time. You see 100 Thieves have a pushing top wave, they have a pushing bottom wave. Somebody has to go catch these.
Impact to do some janitorial duty on bot. Team Liquid clearing at least the waves, hopefully past river, for their own sake, that these fights continue to happen, because 100 Thieves seems to have a little bit of the map moving in their favor during these fights. We're gonna reset here coming up on 35 minutes. Baron fights, 1, 2, 3, 4, and only one successful take by 100 Thieves so far.
Yeah, it's such a tense game at this point. The gold lead has not really extended, though, since the last Baron take. So this lead is meaning less and less. Doublelift is still ridiculously farmed, and he is that important member.
Really
so if
is.
they can find that good engage with the Orin, with the Set 20, they can crush a fight. And you give TL one fight, they will take the Baron, and they will be in control.
And you can see people are kind of preparing for that fight however they can. I like to think of stopwatches almost like when you buy an elixir of fortitude or anything like that. Someday is doing that right now.
He's ready for the next fight.
He spent 600 gold on a stopwatch. He already has the Guardian Angel, so that is a dead-end stopwatch. He will use that.
They
There's
go.
no react.
Call the Force God, huge knock up,
Wow.
onto 100 Thieves. They put down the Lambs for fight fast enough, but it doesn't look like they'll come out healthy enough. And Ryu goes down,
Double
and
it.
Smithy falls fast after in the retribution kill for Team Liquid. And now it's going to be a back and forth with the call, or with the curtain call out. Impact slowed, Bellows breath forward, but that's Impact from Afromu. The combo of headbutt pulverize keeps Team Liquid in range, and they completely liquidate that fight from 100 Thieves.
Afrobu lines him up, and Someday knocks him down with that barrel combo. What an engage. And the Zillion ultimate, the key misstep there for TL. It was used too early on Doublelift. He is running out and it is used. And when they don't have that anymore, Doublelift cannot commit to the fight.
Oh, double lift. He tried to do as much damage as possible in that fight. They threw down the ultimate on him, like you said, and now the Baron. Only Olay stands in the way. Will he try? Afromu saying, not even a chance, man. Not even a 1% chance is what he'll allow.
3.5 minutes of absolute power for 100 Thieves, and they have been in the driver's seat to use this. We'll see the fight all over again as Impact starts it off with Forge God.
And this is our Acer Predator replay here. A great Kindred ultimate to actually have that down before Ryu could get burst out. And then track Doublelift going deep in the fight. The Zillion ultimate gets dropped as he flashes out. That is the key miscommunication.
Now right here, Afromu. Doublelift's like, after all this time, the flash forward, the headbutt
Oh my
pulverize, the
God.
triple knock up, and then the gross barrel chain there from Someday. This has been an incredible split for Someday as a top laner.
Impact caught out again, pulverized on top of the ultimate. They might have stacked the CC a little bit to secure this kill, and Impact will make that alive. They call every teleport in from Team Liquid, though. They're gonna try to throw the kitchen sink at him. He gets silenced, and they don't need the Forge God to come back through, and 100 Thieves are getting a little greedy.
That is a critical kill because the Elder has just spawned and TL could now head over there.
Looks like they
spot
still want to
100
fight.
Thieves.
Slowly pressuring each other, but tempered here as 100 Thieves know they are now down a player even with that Baron in hand. They have no minions to push up a bot lane, and they'd have to go through Team Liquid to get there. Elder Drake started by Team Liquid.
Someday he's already placed a prep barrel in that bush in case they want to walk up afterwards. See if he gets a chain off to the back.
Coming up on that 40-minute mark, teams have pushed each other to the brink here. Curtain call is open to disrupt and cause chaos on Team Liquid.
GP ultimate.
Seeing Onda in the front, trying to get the Lambs or spike down the spike game. McSmithy takes the last shot. Deadly Flourish almost hits him. He's got to get out of there, but it's going to be Ondas. They smite Elder. That's going to be a double dragon buff for them, and now they are going to take down Impact with the rest of Team Liquid chasing Pobelter and the rest of the team out.
This could be the game here, Rip. They got the Elder, they have the minion wave, and they're gonna look to end it.
Ryu already turned towards mid, escalating how fast the minions would get there, being the catalyst to the victory, as it's still quite a slow back coming in from the rest of the team. And Doublelift stands by himself. Now it's Pobelter alongside him to protect the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, Ryu says, you know what, that backdoor against FlyQuest where he could have TP'd sooner, they could have made a faster play. He says that's not happening. Immediate pull on the trigger.
100 Thieves, Nexus turrets are down, Nexus and the prize in their eyes, and they pick the first lock on Team Liquid.
And 100 Thieves get their first victory on Team Liquid since the first time they ever met back on January 27th.
Seems like they had him quite figured out throughout that matchup. Having Rikara in the bot lane drew a little bit of love around the map, and I think it kind of allowed Onda to fly under the radar a bit more and do what he needed to early game.
And that's what I love, is because when 100 Thieves play with Cody Sun, it's the Cody Sun show. And then someday sometimes pops off, and he'll try to save the game. But with Rikara, it felt like they could focus elsewhere, that they could support Anda, and that Ryu, who got Player of the Series in their quarterfinals, once again stepped up on the Malzahar, and the team controlled the vision to allow picks to happen. But the team fighting in Someday is kind of what it came down to in the later parts.
I mean, you have to give credit, honestly, to the whole team, despite the fact that Rikara was not gifted all those side lanes. It was given to his solo laners. He was down well over 100 CS. He did more damage than Doublelift did that game. And Afromu was there for those critical engages. This was a full team effort. Ryu finding the first initial pick on a Doublelift, which got them the Baron. The whole team played well, and that's what it takes to beat this team.
I love it, because we're going to get so many new scenarios out of the next games. Can 100 Thieves come back in that scenario? Does TL go up I can't wait.
Is there a substitution?
Is there a substitution? There's so much to find out. And to hear how 100 Thieves took game 1 of the series, let's send it over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. You heard Zyrene say it. The first time 100 Thieves has beaten Team Liquid since the first time they beat Team Liquid all the way back at the beginning of the spring split. So a huge win to kick off a best-of-5 after getting 3-0'd by this very same team in the spring finals.
And I like the way they did it, too, because they absolutely did not try and win through bottom lane, which is the normal way they have won. And every time 100 Thieves has had to adapt to a new way of playing this year, whether it was playing with Funnel, playing with Anda, or playing against Team Liquid, they've seemed to find at least an answer for it. Loved Someday's GP, and the Kindred from Anda was one of the best games he's played all year.
He had a similarly good start versus Smithy in their previous time they met up, but that did not work out nearly as well once he got the lead because he kind of wasn't able to convert it into anything extra. But here, after getting that early kill on a bad invade by Smithy, who was trying to split the map when 100 Thieves was not agreeing to do that, they tried to kind of punish this one play around the bot lane to TL, which they get kind of outplayed, all things considered, but then this opened up the game for where they said, like, all right, we don't want our bot lane down here anymore, and they start opening up the map, and TL was able to find some plays, but if you look at where the minion waves are, pretty much every time these plays are happening, they're nowhere near an objective, and even though you get that kill, look, there's 10 more minions you need to clear out, and so TL, despite having some good looks, never were converting into anything.
Yeah, doubleless Kai'Sa, you're kind of always waiting for that late game, but I did feel like as much as we do say that, oh, TL just needs to play through bottom lane, that'll do it. Like, TL's composition really had no flexibility, and at least 100 Thieves' composition had all the tools they needed to not let doublelift succeed. This Baron Secure was also a big improvement over previous Baron Secures.
Yeah, we will.
Mind games and respect there.
We'll come back to that in a moment, but it's reminiscent of the game 1 of spring finals.
The other problem, too, is, like, of the tools you did draft, you did not use them well. The Zillion here was pretty abysmal with his ultimates here. Dropping one on doublelift, who is largely fine. It's much harder as the player to react to the fact that you have a Zillion than for the Zillion player to react to, like, hey, I'm playing Zillion, I'll help you when you need it, versus like preemptive ultimate, go in doublelift as you're in the middle of a team fight. That's obviously going to be hard
huge
to communicate.
flash in there by Afro.
Play a little bit by Afro. And then here, once again, no Zillion ult to put on Smithy or anything as he's getting chased out of the pit, so he goes back in, and the second time that the Zillion ult, this time not getting used, but equally ineffective.
Yep. I mean, it's a tough situation, right? And that's where we kind of, when we had tracked Cloud9's usage of the Zillion throughout the split, we had pinpointed that communication was so clearly a huge element of making that pick successful. Ja, I know you have some thoughts as well on where Zillion is more useful being played around specifically, not just a single carry, but having necessarily more options for where we can put that power.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like when you're playing Zillion compositions, you should be playing them with either a high damage top or a high damage jungle. It's okay to play it with the tank because you give your front line a second life, but in this situation where all that TL had was really doublelift, you're limiting so much of your teamfight threat. So instead of protecting doublelift, you're actually making it even harder for him to do anything because no one else is drawing the attention of the opponent, so they can just kind of wait for doublelift. So for that reason, I didn't like that combination.
That said, I do want to dive back into that first Baron replay that we had in this game because we spoke about how it was reminiscent of the game 1 from their spring final series where Smithy actually comes away with the Baron steal. This time around, both teams playing it quite well.
Yeah, so they're trying to find Smithy and mark him for a potential Afro headbutt, but they kind of get distracted and decide to go for the plan of letting him come in and having a Kindred ult. But Smithy was aware of this as well. He didn't smite at all until the Kindred ultimate drops, but it goes back up out of smite range, and they focus Smithy down and then drop it back into smite range. So just the way they dealt with all the damage in the Kindred, keeping it out of smite range, just due to how much health it keeps the Baron buff at, it was very smart play by 100 Thieves.
That was a situation where I feel like both teams did pretty much all that they could. And because 100 Thieves had more tools, they got the Baron. All the way from the ward to even Xmithy stunning the Alistair so that he could not disrupt the Sedge dash in like that. If Xmithy would have stolen that, would have been like, holy crap, Xmithy, the smite steal god. He also held the smite because he predicted the Kindred ult to come through, but ultimately, 100 Thieves also predicted all those things and had more tools, so they killed him and took the Baron.
100 Thieves comes out on top in game 1, already off to a better start than they were in the spring finals, but they got to keep rolling it forward. And so I want to turn our attention to game 2 with Game 1's draft in mind, because
Right.
a lot of what we just talked about and a lot of criticisms that we just had for Team Liquid seemed to be around the tools. Again, what they had available to them when it came to strategies or methods of winning, and that it was a very narrow focus, specifically around Doublelift. What needs to change to give you more faith that in Game 2, they will come away with a victory, even if they do fall behind?
I think the GPU was another big part of that draft. As much as I didn't really line up with my win condition as counterpick, the fact that you can blind GP and never get punished versus impact is something that we've seen starting all the way back as far as spring. And TL never really answered that criticism beyond like, well, sometimes we win anyways. And so I think, or we'll ban it. And I think that's what we're going to see here, where they're going to start banning GP first phase.
100 Thieves, blue side, no subs.
Okay,
just for
that's good.
reference.
So remember, TL picked red side. I do think the Rikara substitution threw TL for a bit of a loop, because I think if 100 Thieves wants to play that way, TL can easily drop the Varus ban for a GP ban. Make it more difficult for Someday to have a high damage top laner, and make it more necessary for 100 Thieves to rely on their AD carry for late game. 100 Thieves was able to make a late game composition that did not rely on the AD carry, and I think that's a big reason they won. TL can block that with a Gangplank ban.
Right, that's interesting, right? You talked about the kind of the matchup between Doublelift and Cody Sun being historically Doublelift favored, and in this game, we saw lots of resources going Doublelift's way, very few resources going Rikara's way, and yet the result still falls in favor of Rikara's team. So it kind of speaks to the fact that 100 Thieves has found a way of winning that doesn't require them to play into Team Liquid's strength.
And a large part of what we were saying was that's probably going to be around someday. And so if the GP ban does come in, we need to see that second level out of 100 Thieves where they knew that the GP would get answered out. What else do you have prepared? As well as the fact Onda is not probably always going to kill Smithy in his jungle level 2 and get 5 stacks. So, like, how do 100 Thieves play out when they don't have such a advantageous early game?
Adaptation, adaptation, adaptation. As we head towards Game 2, 100 Thieves, they picked up the first game. We'll see how Team Liquid will respond in our second game of the series after this commercial break.